Hello fellow Viiifers. Welcome to the first episode of our series, Figures of History, where we briefly explore the lives of people in history. Today, we will be exploring the life of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20, 1889, in a small Austrian town near the border with Germany. His father, Alois Hitler, was a customs official, while his mother, Clara Polzel, was a devoted homemaker. Alois had a stern and often overbearing personality, and he demanded strict obedience from his children. Clara, in contrast, was kind and loving, fostering a close bond with young Adolf. Hitler's early years were characterized by a mix of familial conflict and rural peace. His father's strict personality clashed with Adolf's rebellious tendencies. Despite his mother's efforts to protect him from his father's harshness, Hitler became increasingly estranged from his father, who died in 1903 when Adolf was 14 years old. His mother's death from breast cancer in 1907 was another devastating blow, leaving him deeply saddened and disoriented. Hitler performed poorly in school. He had little interest in traditional studies and struggled with the rigid structure of Austria's educational system. He attended several schools, but his academic performance was inconsistent, resulting in his eventual withdrawal from formal education without a high school diploma. After his mother's death, Hitler relocated to Vienna, aspiring to be an artist. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts Vienna twice, in 1907 and 1908, but was turned down both times because of his lack of drawing ability. These rejections dealt a severe blow to his self-esteem and future prospects. During his time in Vienna, Hitler led a bohemian lifestyle, living on a small orphan's pension and selling his paintings on occasion. He spent a lot of time reading and exploring his interests in art, architecture, and music. During this time, he began to form anti-Semitic and nationalist views, which were influenced by Vienna's prevalent racial theories and political rhetoric. In 1913, Hitler relocated to Munich, Germany, in order to avoid military service in the Austrian army. However, the outbreak of World War I in 1914 gave him a renewed sense of purpose. Hitler volunteered for the Bavarian army and worked as a dispatch runner on the Western Front. He took part in several major battles, including the Battle of the Somme and the Battle of Ypres. Hitler proved to be a courageous and dedicated soldier. He was wounded twice and awarded the Iron Cross, second class in 1914 and the Iron Cross, first class in 1918, the latter being a rare honor for a corporal. He found himself drawn to the camaraderie and structure of military life, which contrasted sharply with his previous aimless existence. The end of World War I was a time of profound disillusionment for Hitler. Germany's defeat and the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, which imposed heavy reparations and territorial losses on Germany, fueled his sense of betrayal and resentment. He, like many other Germans, believed in the stab-in-the-back myth, which claimed that the German army had been betrayed by civilian leaders, Jews and socialists at home. Following the war, Hitler returned to Munich and joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, in 1919. The party was small and radical, with nationalist and anti-Semitic ideologies. Hitler quickly rose through the ranks, thanks to his oratorical abilities and charismatic personality. He drew large crowds with his passionate speeches against the Treaty of Versailles, Jews, Marxists, and the Weimar Republic. By 1920, the DAP had been rebranded as the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, or Nazi Party. Hitler played a key role in shaping its ideology and expanding its membership. He adopted the swastika as the party's emblem and created the paramilitary wing, the Sturmabteilung, SA, to protect party meetings and intimidate opponents. In November 1923, emboldened by Mussolini's successful march on Rome, Hitler attempted to overthrow the Weimar government with the Beer Hall Putsch in Munich. The coup failed miserably. Hitler and other Nazi leaders were arrested and prosecuted for treachery. Hitler used the trial to gain national attention, delivering passionate speeches that appealed to many Germans. Hitler was sentenced to 5 years in Landsberg prison, but he served only 9 months. During his incarceration, he dictated the first volume of Mein Kampf, My Struggle, to his loyal follower, Rudolf Hess. The book outlined his ideology, including his plans for the future of Germany, his belief in Aryan racial superiority, and his vehement anti-Semitism. After being released from prison, Hitler focused on rebuilding the Nazi Party and gaining power through legal means. The party was restructured, with Hitler assuming the title of Führer, leader, and taking a more centralized approach to control. The Great Depression of 1929, with its economic instability and widespread unemployment, provided fertile ground for his message. The Nazi Party's propaganda machine, led by Joseph Goebbels, played a crucial role in spreading Hitler's ideas. They exploited the economic crisis, blaming Jews, communists, and the Versailles Treaty for Germany's woes. Hitler's promises of national revival, employment, and the restoration of German pride resonated with a desperate populace. By 1932, the Nazi Party had become the largest party in the Reichstag, German parliament, although it did not have an outright majority. Political maneuvering and backroom deals eventually led to President Paul von Hindenburg appointing Hitler as Chancellor of Germany on January 30, 1933. Many conservative politicians believed they could control Hitler and use his popularity for their own ends, but they gravely underestimated him. Once in power, Hitler quickly established his authority. The Reichstag fire in February 1933, which he blamed on communists, enabled him to enact the Reichstag Fire Decree, which suspended civil liberties and permitted the arrest of political opponents. The Enabling Act, enacted in March 1933, gave Hitler dictatorial powers, allowing him to rule by decree without parliamentary approval. Hitler systematically dismantled the democratic institutions of the Weimar Republic. Political parties, trade unions, and independent media were banned or brought under Nazi control. The Gestapo, secret police, and the SS, Schutzstaffel, led by Heinrich Himmler, became tools of repression and terror. Under Hitler's regime, Germany underwent a radical transformation. The economy was geared towards rearmament and autarky, self-sufficiency, and massive public works projects, like the Autobahn, were undertaken to reduce unemployment. The Nazis also implemented extensive social policies, including youth organizations, Hitler Youth, racial purity laws, Nuremberg laws, and the promotion of the Aryan family. Anti-Semitism became state policy, leading to the systematic persecution of Jews. The Nuremberg laws of 1935 stripped Jews of their citizenship and prohibited marriages between Jews and non-Jews. Kristallnacht, Night of Broken Glass, in 1938 marked a violent escalation, with Jewish homes, businesses, and synagogues attacked across Germany. Hitler's foreign policy aimed at undoing the Versailles Treaty and expanding German territory. In 1936, German troops reoccupied the demilitarized Rhineland, violating the treaty but facing no significant opposition from France or Britain. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria, Anschluss, and demanded the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia, which was ceded to Germany after the Munich Agreement. Despite assurances of peace, Hitler continued his aggressive expansion. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, triggering World War II as Britain and France declared war. Hitler's Blitzkrieg, lightning war, tactics led to rapid victories in Poland, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France by mid-1940. The systematic murder of millions of people, including Romani people, the disabled, political dissidents, and Jews, during the Holocaust was the most horrific part of Hitler's rule. Throughout Europe, the Nazis built extermination camps, concentration camps, and ghettos. In occupied territories, Einsatzgruppen, mobile killing units, performed mass shootings. The final solution, a plan to exterminate all of Europe's Jewish population, was formalized in January 1942 during the Wannsee Conference. Treblinka, Auschwitz, and other extermination camps turned into the hubs of mass murder. The camps were liberated by the Allies in 1944 to 1945. Hitler's decision to invade the Soviet Union in June 1941, Operation Barbarossa, proved to be a critical error. The initial German advance was rapid, but the harsh Russian winter, logistical challenges, and fierce Soviet resistance turned the tide. The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943, marked a significant turning point, with the German army suffering a catastrophic defeat. In 1944, the Allies launched the D-Day invasion of Normandy, opening a Western front. Meanwhile, the Red Army advanced from the east. Germany was now fighting a two-front war, stretching its resources and manpower to the breaking point. Allied bombing raids devastated German cities, crippling its industrial capacity. Hitler withdrew to his subterranean bunker, known as the Führerbunker, beneath the Reich Chancellery in April 1945 as Allied forces pressed closer to Berlin. He was still alone, delusional, and becoming more and more paranoid, and his physical and mental health had seriously declined. On April 30, 1945, with Soviet troops just blocks away, Hitler committed suicide by ingesting cyanide and shooting himself in the head. His wife, Eva Braun, whom he had married the day before, also took cyanide. Their bodies were hastily burned by their staff to prevent them from falling into Soviet hands. Berlin fell to the Soviets on May 2, 1945, and Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 7, 1945. Adolf Hitler left a legacy of unparalleled destruction and horror. His aggressive expansionism and the war he caused killed an estimated 70 to 85 million people, both military and civilian. The Holocaust remains one of history's most horrific genocides, with ramifications lasting for generations. Hitler's totalitarian regime left a lasting impression on Germany and the world. As a direct response to the atrocities committed during his rule, the post-war era saw efforts to rebuild and reconcile, such as the establishment of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The consequences of Hitler's actions continue to shape global politics, historical scholarship, and cultural memory. His life and the Nazi era are extensively studied to understand the dangers of totalitarianism, extreme nationalism, and unchecked power. In summary, Adolf Hitler's life from birth to death was marked by a rise from obscurity to power, a reign of terror and genocide, and a downfall that brought immense suffering and devastation to the world. His legacy serves as a grim reminder of the potential for human cruelty and the importance of vigilance in defending democratic values and human rights. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe as it motivates us to keep making more videos.